Andy, what have you told your guys about the opportunity that's in front of them?
You know, this is March Madness. We don't have to travel far to be right in the throes of it. I know our guys are excited. Us securing the 4 seed, meaning we don't have to play till Friday. I'm not as dumb as I look. I realize winning 3 in 3 days is easier than winning 5 in 5 days. So mission 1 accomplished, and that's the fact we put ourselves in a position to make a run.
Your success on the road, how do you think that has prepared you for the high pressure of win or go home at this stage?
I think our guys are playing with a lot of confidence. We've won 10 straight on the road. We've won 12 away from Bartow. We're 12-2 away from Bartow, which ties a UAB record for most wins away. Got a chance to eclipse that on Friday and get number 13. So our guys are comfortable in environments that they're not comfortable in. Not so much in the ones that they are comfortable in. So it's been certainly an obscure year.
Yeah, have you ever had a season like that?
No, I have not. I've never had a season. I said this going into the year. It's probably the last 12 months, even though it's my 19th year as a coach, it's probably been the most hectic of my career, just for everything, you know, with rev share and NIL and transfer and complete new team and how are you going to figure it out. We've also had about 40 some odd man games missed due to injury. It's a point that really hasn't been brought up much with our team. We have the 351st smallest team in college basketball. There's only 365 for those that don't know. And one of the reasons is we lost our biggest kid in the preseason at 6'10", and that changed the way in which we need to play. And then we've had periods in conference play of losing Jacob Meyer for a number of games as our second leading scorer, losing Kyron Lindsey Martin for a number of games as one of our most effective front court guys, and then our starting point guard, Lamont Robinson, went down. He's been out about 3 weeks. We're expecting to have him back for conference play. So it feels like I've coached about 3 or 4 different teams in this one season. I hope that we've still got enough run left in us so that we can do something down the stretch.
I know you just said.
Go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of being shorthanded a little bit, I know you just had Kyron foul out last game,
but low first.
But how have you guys managed to kind of play defense without getting in foul trouble, especially with the front court? You guys just don't foul a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it and talk about it, but you know, for us, if you look at us statistically, and I know you guys do, but obviously not to the depth that I do, but when you look at us statistically and you look at all of the areas that we have been less than the standard, just the national average, it would be easy on a blind resume to say that team's 11-20. It's not 20-11, just because we're so deficient in a number of areas. The areas that we've been consistently good all season are we don't turn it over very much, knock on wood. We don't foul very much, knock on wood. And then we do a good job off our defensive glass. Those are the 3 things that we've been the most stable at throughout the course of the season, and that's going to have to remain to be consistent in order for us to have any chance to extend our year.
I know every year's different, but to go to 4 straight championship games in the conference tournament, trying to get the 5th this year, what has been sort of has there been a key to that each year, or is it different every year?
Every year.
How do you do it?
Yeah, I'm going to remind them when we meet, because none of these guys have experienced that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, hey guys, by the way, you know, we've done this 4 straight times. We'd like for you to be the 5th. Every year's different. I remember year 1, Jelly Walker, 42 points, 41 points, whatever he had in double overtime against Middle Tennessee State to push us to the finals, where we were able to knock off Eric Conkle, who's now done a tremendous job at Tulsa. He was at Louisiana Tech at the time, and we had a trouble when I first got here of beating Louisiana Tech. We had never won in Ruston, and we broke through that year. So we finished the trifecta by beating them 3 straight times to win the championship in 22. And then in 24, if you remember, and I know you do, Steve, we beat SMU on a Sunday to secure the 4 seed, and then we made the run 3 games in 3 days. Captured by us, getting our first year in the American and being able to cut down the nets as the champ. So every year's different. I was a part of a 2013 SEC championship run where we were kind of the unlikeliest of unlikelies, and we trailed at half all 3 games, but found a way to get over the hump. You got to believe, one thing that this group has done is it's proven it can persevere. It's proven that it can play from behind. We're 11-7 in league play, and I've done this study as well. We have trailed for almost 60% of the time in our 18 league games, and yet we've won 11 of them. So this team, and we're going to consider this, we may drive, the long way around. We may go up through Gadsden and back down through Bessemer before we get to the BJCC to make them feel a little more of a road trip. We're good on the bus, and hopefully we can make a run. The one thing that's crazy about the dynamic of this tournament is the men and women are playing in conjunction with one another. So we won't even go on the court. We don't have any practice time. So we won't go on the court until we play the game, which I think is good for us, honestly. I mean, we don't want to have any feelings of comfort. Let's just go into a strange environment and see what we can do.
So aren't you, on that real quick, aren't you staying at the Westin or the Sheraton or
We
whatever?
are. We're staying at the UAB-owned Hilton. I'm not as dumb as I look,
Okay.
Steve.
So you're still going to take you're going to...
Well, because we play at noon. I probably wouldn't have if we were the 5 seed. We would have to play, at night.
Right.
But we play at noon, and I'm not gonna ask those guys to meet me down here at 8:30. That probably wouldn't go well.
So Salim's the last 3 years has won on this court. Have you talked with him about maybe continuing that magic? And then what does he bring to your team?
Well, that's a good point. He has won down there 3 straight years. I watched, ironically enough, just channel surfing. I saw Hoover was back, and they came up a little short in the state championship. What a great job Scott's done. Yeah, maybe he can give us the guidance that we need. I'm glad you brought that up. At least he'll know where the locker rooms are.
Chance, how far has he come this season?
It's incredible, Speaks, really. I have said this before, and I think, again, people don't remember. I do. Yax's first year, he reminds me so much of Yax. Nothing like similar, completely different players, completely different background, completely different temperaments. By the way, Yax was just voted Big Ten Player of the Year, so congrats to him, well deserved. But everything's different, but their journey has been pretty similar. Basketball people knew who Chance was because of what he'd done in the past. People that follow the grassroots of junior college basketball knew who Yax was, but not really. And he had to find his way. The early struggles, the inconsistencies, finding his voice, so to speak. And then we had to change him like we did Yax. And not only do we need you to be a good player, we need you to be a leader. We need you to be the guy, the most consistent guy, the guy carrying the load. We did the same thing to Chance. And it took a little while for him to figure that out as well. But as he has, you can see his confidence has really, really increased. And he's really, really flourishing and playing his best basketball at the time that we need him to. That season, Yax's first year, we had to win on the Sunday to get the 4 seed, the double bye, and that team finished 20-11 as well in the regular season. So there's a lot of similarities. My hope is that it can finish the same way, and us walking up that ladder with those scissors. Parents tell you not to do that when you're a child, but boy, it sure is fun when you're an adult.
He was the assist leader and the third in field goal percentage. Do you feel like he should have been a first teamer on this year's team?
Probably, but a lot of it's just dependent upon how your team finishes. And I looked at the first team, and it would be hard to argue with any of those guys. I think Chance has had a tremendous season. I think it's one of the most undersold stories in college basketball. And I remember when we first got Jelly, going back to 2022, and Jelly had this tremendous run, and then he became really a national name over the conference tournament. Really, it started with that game that I just referenced in the double overtime or triple overtime, whatever it was, that he scored a lot of points in propelling us to the championship game. This was his jump-off moment. My hope is that Chance can take advantage of it as well.
With him, and you called him your glue guy when we were talking after the game the other day. What do you mean by that, of him being your glue guy this year? And the other thing on that is he was saying that he's probably a better rebounder this year than he's ever been. I mean, when you were recruiting him, what did you think of that?
Number one, and this is so strange, it's just going to sound strange, but and I don't like the position that the current environment of intercollegiate athletics has put the head coach in, because usually you have a much better feel of the kids you're bringing into your program because you see them. You're actually, you wouldn't even offer a kid if you have not physically seen him numerous times. you wouldn't think about it. But now in the speed dating world, man, you're doing it all off video and you're seeing highlight. It just goes so fast in the portal. So I'd seen him. We saw him in a junior college event, and I saw him and I liked him. And I said, let's go try to get him. And so I felt very, very comfortable because I'd seen him. Started diving into the recruitment. He's a tremendous kid, comes from a great family. And it was a no-brainer. We were really, really excited to have him in our program. He was a junior college All-American. He had a great sophomore season. And we felt that he was going to come in and operate right. To your original question, why do I call him glue? Because he just operates right. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to be prepared. He's going to come out with the requisite energy and focus that you need in order to give yourself a chance to be successful. So we always felt like he was a guy that was really going to be steady. You don't have to run a lot of things for him, and he can still produce. But we felt one of the biggest things that we thought we were getting with him was a guy that could stretch the floor at the 4, and he's really struggled with his shooting. And it's just a confidence thing. You know, he's had moments like at Memphis, thank goodness, where he knocks down 4 threes in the first half against Memphis to put us in a position that we never faltered. And I don't know if he's made 4 threes since. You know, so it's just kind of crazy. We felt like he was going to be a stretch 4, and we were really concerned about his ability to defensive rebound, quite frankly. That was one of my biggest concerns when Das Chagas went down, was are we going to be able to defensively rebound the basketball? And it's been honestly one of our greatest strengths, and a lot of the credit goes to Evan. I think he pursues the ball and he high points it, meaning 2 hands at the height of his jump, and we call it snatching and securing. He's done a great job of all season and being really consistent in that regard.
How have you been able to help Daniel with his free throw shooting, and how much has that changed what he can give you?
I don't want to take any credit because I don't want any of that blame either. Danny's really just worked at it. And he makes them. You know, I remember vividly the 2 he had to make in order to send it to overtime against South Florida, you know, early in the season, which we were able to go in there and win. He's made big ones for us. The other night when I think Evan threw him the ball and ECU's trying to foul, and we all cringed. I'm sure you did as well. Why'd you do that? And then he stepped up and he made 2 big free throws. So Danny's just worked at it all year. It's really just a credit to him.
What's your confidence level with Ahmad finally being cleared, with getting him plugged in? What's your confidence level of getting him back on track?
You never know how these things will work. Obviously, life is better with options. So he's just another option. He hasn't done anything. He's not even going to be cleared for contact today. So we'll just get he's just taking some reps. I'll throw him out there. And, you know, maybe he has a spurt, maybe he makes a play. Maybe it's great for him, because I think he was feeling a lot of pressure. He wasn't performing great, and he was probably putting a lot of pressure on himself. I assume that this kind of gives him a different perspective, which sometimes is good, and it may revitalize him. He should have fresh legs. You know, he hasn't played. And so you never know. He may come out and be a catalyst for us. He might not.
Regardless, do you kind of just still like Chance at the point?
Chance will continue to be the point. But you know, I've tried to be smart, and one thing that you get when you get to the quarterfinals, which fortunately we do, these are on linear TV. And when you get to linear TV, those timeouts are longer. So the timeouts will be longer. I've been trying to be strategic in getting Chance out around medias so that you can get an extra 90 seconds to 2 minutes of real time. He needs it. You know, I made the joke, and again, sometimes these things take on a life of their own. That's not my intention. But, you know, he does when he runs up 2 or 3 times. Doesn't he look like he's laboring? I mean, he looks like he's laboring to me. So I like to give him as much rest as I can, but I don't like him out of the game because he's our best player.
Coach, just the importance of the double bye and kind of playing at home, but not home, so maybe that's helpful.
Yeah, let's don't say anything about home. We're still in Jefferson County, but our guys won't even know that. It's really important because winning 3 games in 3 days is better than the alternative. We don't really get caught up in. We're not going to even be able to prepare for anyone because, you know, there's 3 teams that we could potentially play on Friday at noon, and we won't know that until Thursday night at about 10 o'clock. So we'll take this week to, you know, fresh legs, clear minds, you know, be excited about being a part of this, playing with some momentum. That's why winning against East Carolina was so vitally important, just to continue the momentum that we created by our road victories and hopefully go play well.
You've beaten some of the best teams in the conference. How much confidence does that give y'all in terms of just knowing that there really isn't a team out here that you're not capable of going up against?
You know, I'm a fairly confident guy, but it really doesn't matter what I think. I think our guys are confident because there's nobody, you know, on our side of the bracket. We're just thinking about the first day is, you know, we split with Memphis, we split with Tulane, and we beat Charlotte. So they obviously, and they're familiar with them all. Because we played, you know, the ECU thing was a little strange in that we played them really early and we played them really late. The teams changed so much over the course of, goodness, 8 weeks. Well, we've played all these teams within the last couple of weeks. So I think familiarity, even with a quick turn for both teams, is not going to be an issue.
With the job that Kai did the other day, kind of giving you sort of that, you know, spark, and how much do you need that from him? I mean, you went several games without him. And,
no, we need him desperately. We need him desperately. He's our best offensive rebounder. He's our best back-to-the-basket scorer. I think he's got a really good basketball IQ, too. He's really good in when we break down offensively after the initial actions of initiating the play after the play with his ability to pressure release. And usually if you have a five-man, because the other defender is typically likes to hang in that lane so he can pressure release for us, and he also is really smart in his angles and helping get chance off some ball screen actions. So he's vitally important, and because of the shoulder, he's a little bit like Ahmad. He hasn't been able to, not only was he not able to practice, but he couldn't do any contact. So there was no live bullet, so to speak. So when he got back for the first time against North Texas, you could really see it. He was really struggling with his timing because you can't replicate that without live reps. And so then he comes back and he's had 2 really good games. He played really good at Charlotte, and he played really good in our last outing. So I know from a confidence standpoint, from a health standpoint, he's probably as good as he's been all year.
And when you're to be a good rebounding team, do you really need, like Evan was talking about how a lot of times when he gets a rebound, it's because one of the other guys cleared somebody out. I mean, is that sort of an unseen sort of thing that you know?
You've got to have multiple guys going. Trey was probably the best we've ever had here, and KJ Buffin could probably attest to that. Trey is so big, and he plays with such force that he would force the other team. Even though he might not get it, you're going to have to. It's almost like an offensive lineman. They're going to commit to making sure that Ray Lewis doesn't get to the quarterback, and so the other guy's got to come in there and get it. We don't really have that from a size standpoint, so we've just got to be really persistent and consistent in our pursuit of the ball.
Andy, in this culture where you have to flip rosters every year, how significant is the feat of 6 straight 20-win seasons?
It's not as significant as I wish it was. The 20, if you've got a lot of $20 bills, that's more significant than the history of our proof of concept, just being quite frank. The game has changed, and we're going to have to change along with it.